And so we're back with our episode 4 of our playthrough through AI, the Somnium Files, the Nirvana Initiative. Last time we had come to a crossroad during Andy's Komeji's Somnium, where we initially chose to protect Shoma. And that led us to a very odd, but I don't know, maybe not a satisfying ending, but a happy one. Um, and so for this week, we're going back and we are making the other choice, which was to prepare the money.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so you do that, and you're playing through the Somnium. You realize that Andy's was involved with some shady people.
Very, very. They're above MoMA's pay grade. I mean, they're serious.
Yes, very serious, dealing with weapons and the black market and that kind of stuff. Um, and then you realize, and then you come to find out that he stumbled across something um, that he thinks will help solve all of his problems. And he stores it in his suitcase and takes it away. Although we never actually learn what this thing is that he found, that he thinks is going to
Right.
solve all of his issues. It's kind of like Pulp Fiction, where you open up the suitcase and there's the light and there's no. It's like just kind of like the perfect MacGuffin. You look at
Uh-huh.
this thing and
Yes.
it's just this orb that's like rotating, and you just get some kind of like ambiguous text from Andy's Komeji.
He gets a call then from Terror though, and Terror wants his stuff back.
Hmm.
So, our comedian has bitten off more than he can chew this time, I think. Um, and Terror, at this point, I don't think we've yet seen them.
Correct.
Um, we know there's some sort of like VR sim person running around, um, but their voice is very distorted, suggesting that they're behind a mask, or at least using some kind of advanced technology on their end. I think that Terror is able to shapeshift. That's my new theory right now.
Hmm. Interesting.
Um, there's the suggestion that someone who looks like Shoma runs away, and hops on the Ferris wheel and then doesn't come back off again. Right.
Yes.
So there's something going on where either Ryuki is hallucinating there, and was seeing things, or there's another Shoma that has some weird powers. Um, that is just kind of a thread that is not followed up on at this point. There's more urgent things going on, right? Because um, anyway, yeah, I think I'm pretty sure Terror is a Mystique type mutant that can shapeshift.
Ah,
That's my
yes,
guess.
yes, Mystique from the X-Men. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Oh yeah.
I wasn't sure if there's another reference there, but yeah, you mean like from the X-Men.
Oh
No,
yeah.
interesting. So I think even before the Ferris wheel happens, um, we get out of the Somnium and we're talking to Andy's, and his number one goal is that he won't talk until he knows that Shoma's um, safe and protected,
Mm-hmm.
which he is. He's chilling with Pewter, um,
Right.
and being questioned. So uh, they all end up going back to the Komeji household,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where Andy's gets these text messages and whatnot. Um, and they end up Ryuki and Andy's end up going to the studio Divida,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
which I'm just now realizing is like Divider.
Oh yeah. Devita. Yeah. Yeah. That is how you would say it, I guess.
Oh, interesting. All right. Well, did not notice that until I was just speaking. Anyway, so there's a plan that they're going to catch Terror, and whatnot, and they walk into the studio, and one of the videos comes on one of the screens in the studio, and Ryuki just passes out.
Supposedly. Again, I am very suspicious of Ryuki when he has these blackouts.
But
It's it's impossible because he was tied up, so he couldn't have been the one who did it this time. I just think that's so weak. Yeah.
well, that leads us to the next. Was he tied up? The person who discovered him somehow
Mm,
managed to get in uh, much more quickly than the other four people who were coming to the studio.
right.
So there was Kazuna, Iris, Shoma, and Amame. Um, and the very one of my favorite characters, the taxi driver, comes in.
Driver, yes.
Yeah, he just comes in, and he just, oh yeah, sorry about the receipt. I'm not good with technology. It took me a really long time to deal with this. Uh,
Yeah.
and because of that, the three people had to wait out in the car while uh, Amame got there first.
Mhm.
And she seems much more shaken up than everyone else who is there.
That's right. That's right. There's
Uh,
a okay. There's a thing where Komeji is being super shifty too, though, right? Like he's preparing to show you the thing, the mysterious thing, and then he can't remember where it is, according to him,
right.
right?
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
then the same goes for Amame. She's just like completely suspicious, and yet she's not saying a word. She's clammed up. And so you have to do one of these sequences. Oh, and Komeji's body is there, by the way, right? Half of him
Yes. Yes.
has shown up.
Yes. Yeah, he's definitely bit off more than that he can chew. He
Hmm.
is now dead. He is a victim of the half body serial killer. Presumably. I
Oh
guess there
yeah.
could be a copycat.
If they also have access to the mysterious thing that cuts people in half, right? And that's what I'm assuming the thing is. Komeji had. But so then we do one of these VR sequences to reenact something about this crime scene. Not how Komeji got killed, because we still don't know enough, but how the camera was knocked over.
Yes.
It's like the most absurd, Sherlock Holmesy kind of thing where Ryuki's like, "Oh, but that wasn't knocked over when we were here, so something happened," and you somehow piece together that Mame ran in ahead of everyone, saw Ryuki tied up, maybe
Allegedly.
tied him, left a bit of fingernail there, which is
Hmm.
gross. Uh, then like was spooked because the body was wheeled in by Terror, right? And so she starts running, knocks over a couple things, makes her wet footprints go towards the door that's locked across the
Yes.
way. She's like, about to be killed by Terror, but for some reason, he just like threatens her instead, and then Terror hides among all the mannequins behind one of the bits of set that's back there, and
Yeah. So
yeah,
I
he's there the
think
whole time.
they somehow I think Terror somehow knew that more people were coming.
Right.
Um, I guess he did not know how long it was going to take for the taxi driver to actually produce the receipt. But he basically had not enough time. I'm also not sure if it was confirmed that that's exactly what happened, or if that's just and I'm referring to Terror threatening Amame. Uh,
Good
but
point.
I'm not sure if that's something that we discovered in the Somnium, or if that was just Ryuki's like logical explanation. Um, so I think
No.
at the end of the VR sequence, you turn on the X-ray.
And there he is.
Yes, and so he's back, like you said, with the mannequins. I did go back and play this Somnium, and I was like, I wonder in the VR if you go and just like
Oh.
start looking behind if he's actually there, which I thought would have been really cool. But that was not the case.
Oh.
The body only
Oh.
appeared when you did like after you figured out what happened and you have access to like the X-ray.
Yeah, that's really weird. Yeah, I'm suspicious of both Ryuki and Tama at this point then because Tama's ability to direct these sequences is like it seems to be feeding into Ryuki's kind of general. He's basically going crazy or something, having a breakdown, right? And it's like feeding his fantasies in a way that seems unhealthy. Um, yeah, and just like the amount of stuff that Tama can conjure up in these VR sequences seems pretty much unlimited. To where it's like whatever Ryuki discovers slash invents, Tama can sort of give this visual support to.
Yeah.
I don't know. It
So,
just they seem really weird.
and that sounds a lot like the order of the percent, right? The
Yep.
We can
Yep.
shape reality to be whatever we want. And so, yeah, it is suspicious. Um, although Tama did say, "Hey, Ryuki, you don't seem well.
Mm-hmm.
I'll help you with this
Mm-hmm.
VR stuff, but you really need to get checked out."
It's
Uh,
true.
and
It's true.
Ryuki, now that could all just be feeding into it as well. Some kind of gaslighting, but I thought that was worth pointing out. So that is the first time we get to see Terror. Um,
Mm-hmm.
looks very similar to the antagonist of Zero Time Dilemma,
It's true.
minus the uh, plague doctor mask.
It's close enough though, right? I mean, it's the whole getup is very similar.
Yes.
Um, and this is pointed out later. Yeah, somebody points out. Maybe it's Date. Can't remember. Like that Ryuki somehow knows the man in the iron mask, as he calls him, is Terror. Um, this was a thing that confused me because I was like, yeah, when did we first see Terror? But that makes sense, I guess, that it would be in that VR simulation
Yeah.
or in the mask. Hmm.
So I after we do the VR, is that what we go and to do Amame's Somnium?
Yes, I think so. I'm getting a little mixed up because there is this point where we go to the hospital, right?
Yes.
And Ryuki then like talks Tama into letting him leave again, despite it being pretty clear that he should stay there and rest and recover. Um, hmm. Yeah, I don't remember, but yeah, we do an Amame Somnium that is pretty creepy. Again, very Uchikoshi esque in that
Yeah.
it's a game show, uh, and I think you're given all of the answers that you need, um, like through conversations you've had pretty recently in the game, investigations and stuff,
Uh,
except for the music. I got the music one wrong. That was the one I got wrong.
you mean the first
I
ones?
didn't. The first one, I think you get two chances at, but then there's one. Yeah, there's another one that I did not know. I think it's like the third piece of music. I didn't recognize. Yeah.
So I don't even know how those were. I got all three of those incorrect. I had no idea what was going on. Were
It's
those
it's the ninth, the fifth,
okay?
I believe. I could be wrong, but it's just numbers of symphonies.
Yeah, that's what I thought
So
it was, and I realized that after the fact, but I got those wrong. Um,
yeah.
but yeah, so there's like other weird, and we're actually going up against Andes.
Komeji.
Yes,
Yeah. The Quiz King.
yeah. Um, but yeah, you answer some weird questions. One of them, the puzzles were a lot easier than some of the other puzzles that we've had to do in this game, or will have to
Yes.
do. I think maybe one of them was tough. Subliminal was one. Oh, I think
Uh-huh.
Chupacabra was one that I was not sure about.
Uh yeah. No, these are all things that are mentioned. I think that Tama might be the one who talks about the chupacabra even. Um Again, it's like is it really Amame's Somnium at this point, or is it Ryuki? Like some of his knowledge being drawn upon there. There's there's an element of like blending, and also the fact that Amame is like very frightened and up on the screen, it makes me think that she might not be entirely in control of, or that someone might be manipulating that somnium more so
Interesting.
than others.
Huh.
Um, because it sort of like does this, you know, TV snow effect, and then it like goes to her in the sunfish pocket, um, being really scared, and yeah, I don't know. So each time you get one wrong, it covers up some of what's going on up on the screen, right? It like makes it a big red square.
Yes.
Um, so if you got enough wrong, you wouldn't be able to see much of what's happening. But I don't know that that matters too much. Um, I don't remember there
Correct.
being any like clues or anything up there. So.
Yeah, well, and you get to a certain point in the quiz. I think there's 20 questions. So there's 20
Mm-hmm,
squares on the screen, and it just starts asking you these bizarre questions that don't have answers. Um,
right,
and
right.
Amami,
It's like personality test stuff
yeah, and Amame
almost.
earlier had said like if you don't know the answer, always go with like the right one.
Uh,
So I don't know. Did you? I did all right on those. I wasn't sure if you could even get those wrong.
I don't recall having a like strategy for those.
Okay.
So I think whatever you pick, it's okay.
Okay. Well, fair enough.
Could be wrong.
And then the final part of it is some kind of weird spot the difference.
Hmm.
And you end up going and you're like it always ends up being like some person who's like dead with blood.
There is a dead Iris, a dead Mizuki, and a torn up magazine, maybe? Yeah. There's.
Yes. That
Hmm.
I think becomes a book. So it's very odd that these would be in Amame's. I think this kind of gives more weight to your theory that maybe there is something more here that Amame is not in control of.
Hmm. Yeah. This one creeped me out quite a bit. Um, just finding, I guess, the body in the game show, right?
Hmm.
Doesn't seem like it should have been enough to terrify her. And then terror physically being there, but not actually harming her, doesn't seem quite right either. So yeah, I'm not sure what Amame is up to, but she seems more involved than just being a victim here or just being scared. I don't know.
Yeah, it's it's weird um, because she does seem to be an extremely like timid person, but there's obviously either more more there or she's being controlled or something like that. But so after we complete that somnium, I guess what was even the point of going into that one?
I don't remember now if there was a specific thing we were trying to find out. Maybe it was just like what really happened in that time between when she was in there and when everyone else arrived.
Yeah, I think but
I,
I don't even know what we necessarily learned from that somnium.
mm-mm,
I don't
no,
remember.
not. I
No,
don't think so either.
it can't be that important then if we didn't if neither of us remembered it. Because I do know it happened in the next one that we end up going into, um, which is Iris, and this goes back to I think you at some point Ryuki gets a call from Date
Yeah.
to go to Iris's illegitimate father's estate, who is some bigwig. He's
Hmm.
like in the mob, right? Or is he a politician?
Well,
Or
yes,
both?
I think
Yes.
both. So Sejima, he's from the
Yes.
first game. Yeah, we find out a lot about Iris in that first game, but this part, okay, first you have the option of going pretty much anywhere that you've been so far in the game, right? It just has like a 20 place long list of of possible destinations. And I was, I mean, I didn't like that. I was a little bit overwhelmed by that, I gotta
Oh,
say.
there's nothing worse, especially since it takes so long to get to each different place.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah,
Loading time.
yes, I did not enjoy that as well. And do you even get any useful information from that?
I really couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I
it's
don't think so
it's
either. It just seems like
it's
it's
overwhelming.
yeah, it was like overwhelming, and I think it was like everyone's like, yeah, we don't have any information. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
it just, yeah, it seemed very pointless.
Remember distinctly is if you go to the Nikes building where Izzy ends up being, by the way, right? Um, you eventually see a version of Tokiko that is not a hologram, but is real. Um, but this might be after the Somnium. Maybe I'm getting them mixed up. Uh, because there's like a hologram version of her that's projected and will tell you about various theories from philosophy slash religion. Then there's like a jump scare where you turn around and there's the actual Tokiko right behind you,
Mm.
and then you black out. And again, there's like this is not really followed up on. It just sort of like okay, I guess that may or may not have happened. But anyway, I'm thinking now that that must be after we get done with Iris's Somnium because
Which, yeah, well, one of the most like, I don't know, this very convenient. I love the fact that you get there and it's like, oh, there's Iris. Oh, I forgot it. I bumped my head and I forgot everything. And that's the justification for going into her somnium because she does not remember what she had just like witnessed happening. And it's it's a great somnium.
it's very fun.
Yes, the Pokemon Go type esque. Would that even be considered like an ARG game?
I think so. Yeah.
So we have one of those, and you go around and you pick your three different characters. It's on the Sojima kind of like estate, and you are battling different other trainers. You have like the Red Assassin, obviously a callback
Yeah.
to Red from like the original Pokemon games.
I
And
know.
so what did you do in this part? Like who's your squad?
Okay. Yeah. So it kind of tricks you, I feel like, because all of the ones nearby are pretty weak.
Yeah.
Um, so I first got Kagami, the inspector.
Who?
Um,
What's his name?
Kagami, the inspector, where you talk to him over and over and he keeps telling you his name is Kagami.
I'm sorry. I don't. Who?
And this, by the way, turns out to mean mirror in Japanese, or at least it's a homonym. I'm not sure if it actually means mirror, but yeah, if you inspect the mirror, the two-way mirror in the interrogation room at the end of this, whole thing, um, Kagami appears and makes a pun about it. But
Interesting.
anyway, yeah, he's super weak, but he can help you get to a hidden door. So there's
Really
that. Yeah, yeah. There's a door that can only be opened if Kagami is in your party.
interesting.
And I thought that there might be a powerful Pokemon behind it, but it's just a eyeball, a hidden eyeball.
Uh yeah.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
eyeballs. I don't necessarily care about those. I'm not even really sure what you can do with them. I know you can buy like outfits, but I don't think it actually and like artwork. But I don't think it's actually anything I care about. Um,
Yeah,
so that's
yeah.
so okay. So he basically had like one of those HMs, like cut or surf or
Exactly.
something like that to get.
Hmm.
Okay, that, that's cool. I
Yeah.
okay. So you got Kagami. He was
I
garbage.
got I got Mama.
Okay.
She's decent, and then I got Moma, who's off in a corner. And because he's an SR rank, that allows you to open the door to Mizuki. And so I got
Uh
Mizuki, and then couldn't win my first try against the true gym leader, unfortunately. So then I went back and got boss, and that was my party. It was boss, Moma, and Mizuki. I think that I was able, but she's basically just like broken. She's so powerful. So
Boss, yes.
no, Mizuki.
Oh yeah, Mizuki is too. But boss, I think you go up against one of uh, like gang leaders or something like that, or
Hmm.
I forget a politician or something like that. And boss has a move that can do like 999 damage. It just knocks it out in one move. It's like it's super effective. Um,
That's good.
yeah, well, because in the game they had earlier said that she has dirt on like everyone that she
That's
can
right.
use, so very powerful against that. So I thought that was kind of cool how um, the it, and this is true for most of the game. The Somniums have a
Mhm.
lot more logical
Yes.
ness to them.
Hmm. Hmm.
If you can use like your deductive skills to actually like progress further in them and do cool things. I ended up getting an egg that
Oh, that's a real thing. I thought that was a joke.
no, you can get an egg, and mine
Ah,
hatched, and it ended up being Monaka from Danganronpa, the
oh
bear,
no.
the black and white bear. But it just said
Yeah.
its name was just like black and white or something, but it was very clearly the bear. Um, and he carried me to victory after he hatched.
Okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
and we had the one boss with like the one winged angel type thing.
Right. Sephiroth.
Yeah, I think right now just this game just made me laugh and like smile so much. Like just like all
Mhm.
these like
Mhm.
references and stuff like that. I don't know. It's very campy, but I still just have had such a good time like playing it.
I agree. I agree. I love how Sosajima wears his baseball cap and like
Yes.
crosses his arms at you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
he's the gym leader, but he's actually
Yes.
not. He beat him up, and then the true gym leader turns out to be Terror.
Dun dun
Um,
dun.
and Tama is quite like sure that Terror is real, right? Within, or maybe Iris, I forget which one of them is saying like, "Oh, this is real" in some way that the rest of the Somnium isn't. So again, I feel like Terror is partly simulated, at least
Yeah.
partly, um, and yet that makes Terror more real than the rest of the stuff going on. In a kind of contrary way. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, and so after you get to the end and you basically find Iris's hidden memory,
Hmm.
Tara says something about some woman has died.
Yes.
So Sajima's like, well, so what? Don't care.
Hmm.
And then it's like, well, what else do you want? And it's like, I just want you to tell these guests that are coming uh, that the execution chamber is in the abyss of the nines.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so it's Tara's planning skills seem to be very good.
Somehow seems to know an awful lot about what's going on. Almost like they also jump through time or something.
Yes,
I don't know.
it's
Uh,
it to
see.
set this like all in motion, um, and to have the foresight. Now, obviously, this is very common in a lot of the Uchakoshi games, where it's these people with these plans that take years to implement, and rely on some very just I don't know convenient like actions by people like that. Like there was really no reason for Terra to go there, in my opinion. Like there had to be another way to get uh, Ryuki that information.
You would think so. Yeah. Terror is not above just like texting people when he needs them to show up somewhere, right?
Yeah,
So for whatever reason, doesn't do that, but has this elaborate, you know, eavesdropped upon conversation.
and
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know if it's significant that he uses the term like the abyss of the nines, considering Ryuki works for Abyss from the
Oh,
police.
yeah. I did not catch that. That's
So
interesting.
So I only caught it. I was like watching a Let's Play before this, and I was like, oh, the Abyss, interesting. And so I don't know if there's any kind of parallels there. Obviously, this game is all about like yin and yang. So if you have the police
Mhm.
being the white, I guess the knives would be kind of the black portion of it. The counter, the opposite.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
so I think that's a bit of a stretch to say that they're related, but I did think it was curious that that's the term that they used.
Yeah, I hadn't pieced that together. It also makes me, again, suspicious of Boss and her daughter, who I think is mentioned that she's adopted.
Hmm.
Um, so, yeah, Boss's abilities to know stuff about all the politicians and stuff going on in that respect. Her ability to use the sync machine, right, which is pretty shady in the first
Yes.
place. Yeah, Boss is starting to look more and more suspect here as well. But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, boss.
Um,
She's very fast and loose with the rules, and a lot of times she only does whatever she can to benefit herself. So yeah, no, I mean she's
mhm.
definitely a suspicious character. Um, but so Ryuki, after he gets this message, figures out pretty easily what the Abyss of the Nines is. Um, and we end up going back to the cathedral, right
Which
at the Knives building.
is it's accessible by a stairway this time, which is convenient. It's like okay,
Everything's very convenient in this
secret.
game, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. So okay, so this is like the counterpart to the big showdown at the docks. This time it's a showdown underground in in the form of all these Nikes, like pajama wearing people with
Hmm.
masks on, and they all look so weak. I don't know. They seem so unintimidating, but they're wielding like little stun thingies, like I don't know, batons or something.
Like cattle
Uh,
prodders.
they are, yeah, yeah, yeah. And meanwhile, your team is like stacked. You have Mizuki, you have Date. Um, Lion is there with a keyblade, like a
Yes,
giant key that
a
he
giant.
wields.
Yes, very odd. Does he actually
And
use it to
Gen,
attack?
yeah, he whacks people with it a few
Okay,
times at least.
okay.
Yeah, but then Gen is just like unstoppable. Like he just like picks people up and uses them to hit each other.
Yes.
It's like oh my god.
Oh yeah, no, I love the over the top like I won't say
Yeah,
violence, but just kind of like the choreography of the fight. Um,
yeah.
and we find
It's
out, yes, Gen.
it's
I had a theory that he was like literally a Goron. Um,
oh.
I was
His
because at a certain point he blocks some of the falling rubble, and it's like, oh yeah,
that's right.
no, I'm fine. I have my skin is like more like rock than anything else. And I was like, well, we haven't seen your face, so maybe you are just like a Goron. Um,
Gollum. Yeah, a
yeah.
Goron. I like it. I like
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. So, yeah, so they're just kind of like wrecking everyone. We have more of those quick time events. Um,
Yep.
and eventually we're victorious, because of course we are. And we find Kizzy, and she's sitting on this like weird throne. Um,
Mhm.
and we're about to remove her from said throne. Uh, and Tara shows up and says, "Not so fast. You probably don't want to do that. There's thermite bombs everywhere, and her chair is rigged as well. So you're gonna do what I say."
I didn't do it. I opted not to shoot Date in the face at close range. So that's where this feels again very like the Nanori games, right? It gives you this impossible choice. Like, okay, either you shoot Date or I'm gonna blow everyone up. Um, I didn't trust terror, I guess, enough to be afraid of that, or maybe because I knew the future, I expected everyone to survive somehow. So I opted not to shoot. I don't know what happens if you do shoot.
If you, well,
Maybe.
I opted to shoot because
Ooh.
this is one of those like where I was like, wait, the game probably wants me to say not to shoot, so I
Okay,
wonder.
good.
I thought it might be like a shorter ending, and I'd have to like go back and restart. Um, it doesn't let you shoot Date.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
It's like, no, I can't do
A
that.
fake choice.
Yes,
Ah,
yes. Choice is an illusion.
just
There is no such thing as free will.
yep. Yep.
But
That's very much like Amame's last few questions, then, right? It's like a question more about who Ryuki is in a way than it's a question about like what you're actually going to do.
yes, um,
And Ryuki is the kind of person who can't shoot his mentor at point blank range, even to save himself and others.
yeah. Didn't he say some? He said some very odd stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't he say something about like Date's body or something like that?
They're physically joined or intimate in some way. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well,
are they?
Date keeps saying that. Yeah, I don't know if they are like body sharers in the way that Date was in the first game. You know,
Yeah.
unclear. But they both have eyeballs, so that's one way in which they're kind of
Yeah.
linked.
It's
Yeah.
very weird. Ryuki's
Hmm.
not obsession, um, but admiration for Date seems very weird. I guess because we never really saw their relationship, right?
It's just talked about a lot. Yeah, that's true. Um, we start to see it when we go back and do Ryuki's Somnium again um, as Mizuki.
Yes. Yeah. But
Yeah, but
yeah,
that's
they're definitely.
another thing.
Yeah, there's just definitely like it's a weird connection. I kept on like raising an eyebrow whenever they're talking about that. Um,
Hmm.
there are theories online that Ryuki is gay and
Sure.
has a crush on Date, which um, I don't have an opinion one way or the other. I don't think it would like affect the game, but I just thought I'd throw that out there that there are people who are saying that.
Of course, of course. They want to ship them. That
Yeah,
makes sense.
yeah, and not that there's anything wrong with that.
Or should we say, boat them? Dun dun dun.
Yeah,
Get it?
so yes, I got it. No, that was good. So okay, so after you don't shoot Date, terror blows everything up, and so this seems to be the point. The Somnium that we actually played as Ryuki at the beginning of the game, right?
Yes.
At this weird
It's the falling of the cathedral. Yes.
yeah. So now we have some answers with that. Um, it looks like Date is not long for this world, or he had a bunch of rubble that fell on top of him.
Yeah,
Um,
he's pretty crushed. I mean, then a big one comes down and crushes him the rest of the way. So
yep.
we're given to understand that Date is totally dead, but again, definitely not dead.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's pretty safe to say. That's a safe
Yeah.
assumption here. And then Kazuna, she also because Leanne goes in there and like lifts her out, right? Or Gen does.
Yeah, I think Gen rescues Kazuna, then hands her over to Lion, and then Lion carries her out, and Mizuki gets carried out by Gen. I don't know. I didn't like all that of it. It just seemed like, really, Gen, you're not going to go rescue Date with your super strength, um, Mizuki. Like, it didn't make sense. Anyway, it's fine.
Yeah.
They all get out safely though.
And this is also the story of how Mizuki. We get confirmation that this is how she
Oh
loses
yeah,
her
yeah,
left
yeah.
eye.
That's right. Right.
So we do get an explanation for that, but uh, at some point in time, Terror says, "My name is Boat,"
Yes, my
which
true name, not Dahlia, but Boat. Which is
yes,
not a name, first of all, but
uh,
okay.
Bodie McBoatface. Yeah, no, it's not a name, and neither of those names. I mean, Dahlia. Okay, fine, fair
It's
enough. That
kind of
is
a
a name,
name.
but Boat? No, I don't think that that's a name. It's very weird.
It is, and it's like weirdly emphatic as well. Um, it's just ridiculous. Uh, so okay, so we have this elaborately staged, rescue sequence. It concludes with Ate getting smushed
Yes.
under the rubble. Uh, Aiba is rescued, right, and is clearly going to go to Mizuki, um, but then Terror, like driving home the point that their name, is actually Boat, not whatever you might have heard in some other timeline. So, okay.
Yeah, and this takes the convoluted way of telling someone
Sure.
information to 11, right? Like it's bad enough that he went to
To
Sosajima just to like
yeah,
tell everyone, oh yeah, you got to go to the Abyss of the Nines, and like everyone meets up there. But now it's like literally you have to destroy a cathedral to learn that his name is Boat.
okay.
Um, have you? And that's the end of that timeline, right? So now
Mhm.
we can finally go back to the original Somnium, and when Tama asks, "Do you know who Terror is?" You can put in that information and
Yes.
play. So I don't know if you've actually done that yet.
I did do that part of the Somnium, yes.
Okay.
And it becomes pretty scary because there's all these like red Ryukis stumbling around
Yeah.
to try to reverse sync you, but then I don't know. It was weird. It was very very creepy.
Yeah. Uh, it does get a lot. It is very creepy compared to at least like the initial one that you played through at the beginning of the game.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, but what are your thoughts up until this point?
Um, I am just kind of confused by how many different threads there are that are loose right now. There's just an awful lot of like mysterious missing people. And I don't know if some of them will turn out to be the same person, maybe, but there's like, all the people who've seen the videos, of course. But
Hmm.
there's also like this mysterious adopted child, and there's
Hmm.
boss's daughter.
Hmm.
There is Lion. He's very shady. He has a friend named Quartz, who's apparently somebody that he used to work with, and we haven't
Hmm.
seen who that person is yet. There's Date himself. There's other one is I don't know. I blanked on the other one. Oh yeah, your brother, right? Your twin brother.
Yes.
So there's just like a lot of and the masked woman, right behind the
Ah,
um,
yes.
the sick
I forgot about the masked woman. Yes, with
the
the
sick
upside
woman
down.
in the mask. She
Yes.
she turns up on Iris's mom's couch in one of those many sequences that we couldn't remember because there's too many things happening.
Yes.
Anyway, so like who's that? So there's just a lot. I don't know. It's very And it's very heavy with all the philosophy stuff too, just kind of like thrown in there for good measure. I can't, I'm wondering how it's going to be pulled together. I guess right now. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah. Um, it was hard for me to put down the game after I got to this point, and I did not.
Huh? Right.
And I ended up like beating it because I needed answers to all these questions. Um,
Okay.
so uh, I don't know. I won't say anything because
Okay.
I'd like to know what your opinion is with your completely like unadulterated, without me poisoning it, I suppose. But uh, yeah, there are a lot of open items, and not to mention who the hell Terror even is, right? Like,
Yeah.
so
I assume
that's
he's
the big
one of
one.
those people. At least one of those people is Terror.
Yeah, um, yeah. I think in terms of gameplay, this is about the 50% mark. Um,
Seems
s-
right.
so we are about halfway through the game. I do like the fact that we are playing as a different character, and a character that we know from
Yeah.
the previous
Yeah.
game, which
It's
is pretty
exciting.
cool. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't want to speak anymore because I don't want to spoil anything.
Okay.
But yes, there are a lot, a lot of open issues, um, and it's I I cannot wait until you get to a certain point of the game. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, no, I think it's a good game. I don't know when I first finished it. I was like texting my one buddy. I was like, "Oh yeah, it's so much better than the first one." And then I kind of like sat on it. I was like, I don't know about that." Um,
This one's pretty darn good.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I think just be there for the ride, right? Like don't
Mhm.
overthink anything. It reminds me in Austin Powers where when he goes back in time and he's like, well, if I go back in time and I'm like uh and my body's frozen there, like then how could I have like been unfrozen and gone back there? And like Basil Exposition's like, don't think too hard, right? Just enjoy the
Mhm.
ride. Like you don't need to know exactly why everything happened, right? Don't question
Good.
it. Just kind of go along. I'm telling a story here. Just enjoy it. Um,
I'm okay with that.
yeah, no, it is good. But yeah, anyway, so I think next week we'll play as far as we can with Mizuki, and then we'll discuss whatever's next.
Yeah, I'll try to get to an ending, but I may not make it that far. We'll see.
I don't think there is an ending that you can even get to.
Oh, okay.
It's another thing I will mention is there aren't I don't think that there's as many endings and like branching paths as there was in the first one.
Mm, okay.
Um,
That's fair.
and I guess another question would be, we have these two timelines, right? Like in one of them, Andy survived, and in the other one, he didn't.
Hmm.
So this will
But
be
which
interesting.
one is leading to? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, but one of those is obviously like not canon. But anyway, um, I think this is a good episode. There's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of moving parts, a lot of
Hmm.
questions. Hopefully, we'll get answers soon.
That's good.
All right. Well, I'll talk to you next week, and signing off.
Thanks.